Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Sales Grammar Podcast. I am your host, Lauren.
And my name is Sundance Brennan, and you don't know, I might just be a hologram.
Oh my god, he is.
Yes.
Anyway, so today's topic, you can actually follow along with us on salesgrammar.com under the blog tab. It's just a couple blog posts down from the top. It's team building ideas for you and your team. So as we know, it's always super important to get to know your team members, both, in the workplace, but also at a personal level. I just feel like it makes your overall working relationship better. So let's start with my number one, which I feel like is kind of a given. I think you would agree, Sundance, but it's eat out, right?
Yes, I love food. Okay.
Everyone loves food. I love food too.
All right.
Breakfast
So
is
team building activities, eating out. All right. So what breaking bread together is bonding.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I think I learned from actually this one lady that I work with. She said, comp, which means company, and then panion, it comes from like the word like pan, which is bread in Spanish, pan. So it's like company breaking bread together.
Okay.
Like that's where that company comes from. Yeah.
I love that. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty interesting.
How do you feel about like bringing food into the office place versus people going out to dinner? And let's just assume like non-COVID times, like when it's safe. Yeah. Not all parts of the country are safe currently, but I mean, in normal times, does it make a difference if people bring the food in or if they, go out to dinner or lunch or whatever it is?
I mean, majority rules. I would have a vote and be like, okay, guys, because I feel like even though everyone's different in a team, I feel like the team as a whole has their own vibe, I guess, if that makes sense. So for me, I don't know. I feel like if you have a more laid back team, maybe they would want to just, chill at home, or I guess in this case, chill at the office. You can bring in food and just chit chat. You're in your own element. You don't have to worry about dressing up because, it depends on the restaurant. Not that it's going to be fancy or anything, but, you don't have to worry about, looking super presentable. You're just with the work gang. Okay. But yeah, maybe you have a more upbeat, lively team. Then go out to eat.
Okay, so here's something I have done. So like yours is the traditional go out and eat. I'm going to offer alternatives that are, maybe, socially distanced alternatives. So for instance, you can get company Uber Eats cards and issue gift cards to employees. Fantastic program. So on a corporate level, enterprise level, you can get Uber Eats cards, issue everybody their own card and say, okay, order your food. We're going to have a Zoom happy hour or, dinner together or something. So you're still eating at your desk. However, like when the Zoom is up, like you can't be working on their stuff. Right. And there's the camera action there. So I do like having cameras. And I still find that there's some interaction that goes on there. And there's even some breakout rooms in a lot of these video streaming services. And so I find that like me personally, if it's too big of a group, there's always some people who, don't say anything or don't interact a lot. However, if I force them to have a breakout room and, and I force like some smaller conversations and I adjust them and they can each have a topic like, okay, here, while you're in this group, I want you to talk about, this idea or this, this philosophy, or maybe non-work related. Okay, you guys are going to work on, these questions or event or, come up with a talent show. Or something like that. Well, while you're bonding over dinner, and that makes a big difference when you've got maybe 4 or 5 people in a room. So depending on the company size, whether or not you can actually go to someplace physical, or if you're stuck, working at home still, then a couple of ideas for you. So I like this one a lot. I think that food does bind people, and it's easy to bond when you break bread, so to speak, and have a glass of wine or whatever it is, and then you start to get to know folks as well. So I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Like I said, I was trying to say earlier, breakfast time's here and I'm already thinking about dinner. Food's
Mm-hmm.
always on the brain.
Yeah.
Always on the brain.
Human nature. All right. What
Oh
do you got
yeah.
for what's number two?
Okay, so number two, I thought was pretty unique, and it's visit your local garden.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, you know, at least the Fort Worth Botanical Gardens, it used to be free to go into. I think now they charge, but it's like no more than $10 or $15 per person.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a pretty cheap alternative, and you could, picnic out there. They always have those empty lawns with, beautiful views, and obviously you have the flowers and stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
That would just be really nice. Again, food is involved,
Right.
picnicking, but
Okay. And not necessarily though. I mean, just visiting someplace
yeah,
outdoors. And I think maybe just the change of scenery
yeah,
is important here. Getting to know
I
your
think
folks,
that's
not
great.
just within, if you're in a corporate office or something like that. And really, it kind of depends on budget too. So we're coming up with ideas that are, flexible. Let's just say.
Hmm.
So some people have a big corporate budget and incentives, and they can come up with contests and all kinds of things. But if you are on a budget and you need to still have that bonding period, take folks for a walk. There's a lot of cities have river walks. There's some kind of
Yeah,
outdoors areas that are beautiful, and you can just take a tour somewhere. A walking tour is acceptable. Same kind of an idea. I like those a lot, and that kind of still gives the same vibe. I mean, if you've got a big budget, you could do some other things that are outside-ish. In Dallas,
yeah.
we've got this bicycle pub thing. Have you seen this?
Is that the Katy Trail?
So
Is that what
no,
you're talking about?
it looks like a trolley, except it's foot powered. So you literally are pedaling, and there's like a bartender
Oh,
in the middle of this trolley, and
I have seen that.
so you're
That's
exercising, you're
crazy.
outside, you're fairly far apart from folks, and you don't have to go indoors at all, and you're with folks who are you
Yeah.
can socialize with.
No, that's a good idea. I never thought of that. That'd be really fun.
Yeah. So we just
I
went
love
from
that.
garden walking to beer gardens there.
Yeah. Why not?
All right. You talk
You
about food. I
know?
talked about drink. It's
There
still the
we
same
go.
world.
Yes, very much so.
All
All
right.
right.
What's number three?
Let's do number three. So again, I guess this one could be both inside and outside, but I always envision it more of an outside thing, and that's mini golf. I don't
Hmm.
know about you. I'm not very good at it, and I've probably only done it once or twice in my whole life. I play it on Game Pigeon. I don't know if you've heard of Game
What's
Pigeon.
game pigeon?
It's like an app that it connects to your. I think you have to have iPhone to play it. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure, but it connects to your iMessage, and you literally can play chess or cup pong. They call it cup pong, but we know what it's really
Yeah. Yeah.
referencing.
Okay.
Um, you can play pretty
That
much just
other
all these
refreshing
different
beverage.
games. Yeah. Um, but you literally like just take a turn and then you send it. You send your
Hmm.
turn via text message to whoever it is that you're playing, and then they'll make a turn and they'll send it back. So
Okay.
yeah,
So we were talking like you brought up mini golf and going outdoors and having some kind of an event. And I think the key here is finding some kind of an event that they wouldn't do themselves in order to like put them outside of their comfort zone just a little bit. And I've
yeah.
had a lot of luck with these escape rooms,
Hmm.
mini golf,
I've always
bowling
wanted
to
to do
some
escape rooms.
extent. You've never done an
Yeah.
escape room? Oh,
No.
all right. Well, we're gonna have to do an escape room now.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
Paintball. I've done paintball before.
I've
There's
never done
actually
paintball either.
there's these ones, the scaling trees and the trust fall, and there's some of these boot camps that are do sort of the same thing. Those are fun, but again, to give an alternative that is a Zoom friendly, video age friendly, you can download. You don't know Jack. Have you ever played You Don't Know Jack?
No.
No. So You Don't Know Jack is a fun, irreverent game that is quasi work appropriate. It's not too risque. Most offices would be
Okay.
fine with it. And if you have like a Zoom happy hour or something along those lines, then you can get in front of the screen and you can play this game. And you download the app on your phone and you interact with it over here on the screen. And so you press the button on your phone and you say, okay, answer number 3. And it's a race against everybody else who's playing. And
Okay. I
it's
think I've
there's
heard
some
of
like Jeopardy like this, but there's also some that are like two truths and a lie. So they'll put up a word, and you put up some strange definition of what that word is, and then everybody else has to guess and see like, well, that one seems plausible. Who came up with that one? And it just gets to be fun, and you get to know folks outside of the office, and it forces everyone to take turns, which I think is important in that team building environment to hear everybody's voice. And sometimes when we're in person, I can facilitate that conversation. But when we're not, I kind of have to figure out other ways to make sure that your voice is heard. And it's usually the quietest person, like they're the most interesting. And it's not that they don't have things to say. It's just that they would feel uncomfortable cutting someone else off, or maybe they're worried that what they have to say doesn't have value. And so, I don't want to put people on the spot, but I do also want to make sure that everybody has a safe place to chime in.
Right. No, I agree with that. I love that. No, I wanted to check that game out though. That's really fun.
You don't know Jack. That's a good one.
You don't know Jack. Cool. And I'm looking forward to the escape room.
Yes.
That's going to be fun. Okay. So on to number 4. Again, this is for sure an outside thing. Have a lake or beach day. And, it depends, where your company's at geographically on the map, Dallas, I guess over here in my neck of the woods, we have White Rock Lake, but that's still it's a bit of a drive. It's like 45 minutes from me.
I think anything outdoors that involves a little bit of physical exertion, not a ton, like maybe even just a barbecue or, bags. So they call it bags here, or they call it a cornhole up in the Pacific North. Yeah. So I've heard it called both. But you could do something like that. Or if you want to go old school, like picnic. I know we were just talking about picnics a few minutes ago, but those things are always fun. 3-legged races, food. What's that game where you toss like the water balloons back and forth? It's summertime. It's still pretty hot.
Yeah, it's just a water balloon toss.
Yeah, and then you back up a little bit further, and then you toss it again, and somebody's getting wet. And then you have some cheesy prizes, and they don't have to be things that you spend a lot of money on. It could be the primo parking spot for the month, or it could be
the employee of the month parking.
Yeah, employee of the month parking, right? I mean, that's an oldie but a goodie. It can also be, you get your choice of shifts. So if you want to work early shift and you win this game, then all of a sudden you get the early shift. So there's some real world, victories to be had there, and it's all in good fun, I think. So as long as you get outside and you have some structure to it. I find that I have to have a plan. You can't just throw up some, cooler and a barbecue and expect people to, mingle. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
But I find that it's always much easier if you have a plan, and if you help it, you nudge it along on purpose.
For sure. No, I mean, once I get to know someone, you can't get me to stop talking, but it's that initial like meeting someone or like having to go up and like introduce myself in like a social setting like that. Obviously, business, that's a little different, but when it's like social like that, I'm like, oh, can I go up? Are they talking about something important?
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't, like I'm just like, ugh. So it's definitely having a plan would just kind of help kind of break that ice a little bit.
Yeah. And what's strange is that, so we're talking about like icebreakers and like new teams coming out, but there's a whole bunch of people now who have been sales teams for the last year or year and a half, but don't remember each other or brought on new team members, and they have to like reintroduce themselves. A large part of the country is going back to the office, even as, strange things happen in the South, but like there's pockets of the country that, everybody's going back. So maybe these things are still relevant. You've got to have these like reintroductions and icebreakers and, these exercises where, we get comfortable, talking to one another again and getting to know each other, because a lot of us have been in silos for a very long time. It's an interesting time. So a lot of folks in very different circumstances, so it doesn't really matter if you've had a sales team for a long time or if you're just reintroducing everybody to each other. These are good ideas. And every once in a while you get enough new team members, you got to go do these things again.
Yeah, no, I think maybe having like kind of like what you were talking about, like those Zoom meetings, but like having them weekly. Because I don't know about you, but when I think of team building events, I think of them as maybe like once a month, or maybe even sometimes once every year. I guess it just depends on the size of the company, but maybe implementing just a quick 5 to 10 minute meeting every week where, you know, if you do bring someone in that's new, you can introduce them. And, you know, it's just a weekly thing. So everyone's always just up to date. Everyone's always talking to each other. So we're not forgetting who's on our team, you know, across the world, because, you know, it's just how it is. So
I like to tie some of these into goals as well. So I had a great manager who described this as he would play football by himself. Very lonely childhood. So he would play football by himself, and he would back up, and he would throw the football to himself. He was quarterback and receiver. So he would have to throw the ball at like a high enough arc and then run and then catch it himself. And the trick was, you know, he couldn't throw it too far, because then it would feel like, oh, it was out of reach. It was too far away, and he would feel, you know, dejected, and, you know, it wasn't good enough. He'd give up, and you couldn't make it too easy. It was the best when it was a goal that was just a little bit like hard to reach. And that in itself, like the team trying to reach that goal, bonds them a lot. And so I think when you have a goal that's like that, and then it comes to fruition, and you receive some type of reward, like a team outing or something like that, you know, or some kind of, even if it's just the Uber Eats thing. I think that bonding moment, like you went through some trials and tribulations, you came back victorious, and now you have this moment where you get to, you know, celebrate and have, you know, food and drink, or, you know, whatever it is. I think we often celebrate with food and drink. Speaking of which, I think number 5 has something to do with food and drink. You like that segue there?
Yep. Yes, I did.
They all dealt with food and drink, didn't they? There's like definitely a theme.
Basically, yes. And I tried so hard to like steer away from that when writing this, but I was just like, food's always involved. It's going to be involved somewhere, somehow. So.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, number 5 I thought was pretty unique. But doing like a cooking class. I feel like that's becoming a more popular thing. I don't know. I know quite a few people that either teach like cooking classes for companies, or that have taken them. So, and they say that it's definitely.
Wait, they teach cooking classes like it's a private cooking class?
Like, I guess, yeah, in a way, but not like one-on-one. No, obviously it'd be like for the whole team. But yeah, they would kind of like, I guess, say, oh, in this class we're gonna cook steak, and then they'll kind of give like their full spiel on the proper way to cook it, and maybe some like tips and tricks, and then the team can kind of get involved and ask questions, and in some cases they're cooking along with the chef or the speaker.
If it's a big enough facility or something, huh? What about the wine and painting thing? That's typically like a date activity, but I've seen that used in team bonding activities as well.
Yeah, no, that's actually a really good one. And I'm surprised I didn't think about that one. But yeah, no, I think that would be super fun, because, you know, you get to paint and you get to make fun of each other if someone doesn't know how to paint very well, even though there's, you know, given instruction on how to do it.
It's just friendly competition, huh?
Yeah, and, you know, food, again, is involved, and some drink.
Yeah.
Good old vino. Gotta love it.
So let me ask you, so when team bonding like this, do you think it's important sometimes to include a +1, or should it be exclusive to the team members? This is something that comes up in real world, you know, all the time. And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, but I'm just curious what your take on it is.
I think, you know how we were talking about eating in the office, bringing food in the office versus like going out and eating? I feel like, you know, there's a time and a place for inviting the +1. So maybe if it's an in-office thing, obviously that should stay an in-office thing, unless it's just a huge company-wide, like all the teams getting together. I know a company that my mom works for, they do like a huge Halloween event, and they invite, you know, you can invite whoever you want. Yeah, family. And I know they help out like orphans, and they decorate the office, and it's just a big event. So that's a little bit different. But when it comes to like the team building event, if it's in the office, I personally think it should stay within the team. And then if you're going out to Topgolf, or you're doing the painting with a twist or whatever it's called.
What about axe throwing? Have you done the axe throwing thing?
No.
Oh, all right. So escape rooms and axe throwing. There's a place called like Battle Axe or Bad Axe or something like that.
Bad Axe.
Yeah.
That's funny. No, okay. I'm in for a treat then because
It's the new bowling.
it sounds scary.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's legal to throw a hatchet. I think they're not technically axes. I think they're hatchets, but you can also have beer there, which doesn't seem like it should be legal, but it is.
What? Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Ooh. Well, when we do that, I'm not drinking anything. So,
All right.
oh my gosh. And don't those things, can't they like rebound? Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
they
I feel
bounce
like
back.
we've had accidents before.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen anybody lose a toe, but I could see how it could happen. They make you sign a lot of waivers when you go do it. I did it probably two years ago or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. But there's no shortage of activities. I think the main thing is get something that they wouldn't do themselves that puts them in a situation where they're slightly outside of their comfort zone.
Just slightly. We don't want it because then people won't show up.
Right.
They'll be like, oh, I got a doctor's appointment or something. Come up with an excuse.
So regardless of whether or not your office is back in the office or still working remotely, you can come up with creative ways to bond people. And very often human nature is to bond over some type of food or community activity or community goal. Everybody pitches in for that. And then we have the kind of a shared identity with that.
Right.
I like it.
Awesome.
All right. What's next?
Cool. So we're going to close with our quote of the day. And that is going to be from Henry Ford. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
It's a simple quote, but still. Coming together is a beginning. Staying together is progress. And working together is success. Again, by Henry Ford.
Excellent. Yeah, the working together, I think, is much harder than most people realize. There's a lot of people that work together, but they don't actually work together. I don't know if like you catch my meaning there, but like there's a lot of groups who are just not cohesive, and so that team bonding definitely brings people together.
Yep. Communication's minimal, and I definitely feel that.
All right,
awesome.
Well, I love it. Another great weekly show. When are we doing this next?
Boo, yeah. So since we missed, I think last week, I don't know, the schedule's been kind of weird because of summer. We're going on vacations and things are happening. So next week, I think we talked about doing it again. And we're going to be talking about finding your wellness rhythm, because I personally believe, and I think you can second me, is you can't be successful if you don't take care of yourself.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? You gotta
be
healthy.
Friend Pebbles on that one.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
She'd love that one.
We'll plan this out. All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right. That's it, folks, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Appreciate you. We'll see you again in a week.
Yes. See you next week. Check out our website, salesgrammar.com.